simple words. It's going to be a layer, a visual layer on top of the real world in very simple terms, right? And that will make sense. And in order to make sense, it will be at the right time, at the right place. So we started out something like over a year and a half ago, right, Romeo? And the reason why we started out in this direction, many people ask me, where did the idea come from, right? So I've been in the space of let's call it all things Web3 since 2017, right? And also since 2017, I've also been part of UC Berkeley as a faculty, right, where I teach entrepreneurship in Web3, right? So if you combine basically the experiences of student engagement and collaboration around innovation, and combined with my investments, advisory boards into the space of Web3, and obviously the most recent book that I co-authored in 2022 called Navigating the Metaverse, right? These two pillars, students and behaviors, and all things metaverse, which is, call it an extension of our real world, call it a new dimension, call it a new economy, right? If you overlap that, we came to collect enough of evidences that next generation is going to have a different habitat in a digital world. And in that, it will be behaving different. It will be socializing different, right? So long story short, we founded Phygital, and Phygital started with the vision of merging the physical and the digital world, and we focus on one specific use case, which is the use case of socialization. All right. Now, what does that mean, Romeo? Socialization, right? Um, we believe, and obviously, as an entrepreneur, you need to have certain strong beliefs. That doesn't mean that everyone believes in that, but you and the team and a small early adopter community believes in that, right? Which is, we believe that we have been undergoing over the last 25 years one of the largest and most disruptive experiments called social media. Wow, Tommaso, that is a big claim. Yep. So we believe that social media is truly became media, but people are eluded that to be social. What does it mean? Can I double click on that? Yeah, absolutely. Let me actually double click on that, right? Just because I have a button that is called friends, it doesn't make me a friend with someone, right? Or just because I
Yeah.
have some 2,000, 1,500 friends, it doesn't mean I have that amount of friends. Or I give you another category, right? Just because I'm called a follower, Romeo, it doesn't motivate me, right, to
Mhm.
contribute towards that network. So we see that if you understand and you assess that from a behavioral perspective, from a cognitive science perspective or cognitive behavioral perspective, right? That the socialization part is not what you do on media. What you do is you consume media. And by the way, we all love it. We love the YouTube. We love the Instagram, right? We love the TikToks, right? But let's be very, very frank to ourselves. What is it that you love doing there? What you love doing there is truly consumption of content, right? So what once was television, right, where we had and have been having a very passive behavior in consuming content, right? Long format content. I became a short format content where you peer to peer, right? But it's consuming content. So what we don't do is socialization, right? And some might say, well, Tommaso, this is not really true because I can comment. Well, if we are happy about the fact of me messaging and define that as being social, all right, then kudos to you. We have said, what if we have never been digitally social, right? And we have collected enough evidences and experimented with a series, to be specific, with 3 different application and specific use cases that we have collected enough evidence that there is really a lot of white space to build socialization from the ground up, right? And so it's not going
Right,
to
right.
be on a screen, Romeo. And socialization is going to be with your surroundings, where people, places, and things will socialize in a way that we have not seen before, right? And interesting enough, also what we have been understanding is that specific problem of the lack of engagement on today's social media, right? Again, not the entertainment factor, right? That's not missing, right? But the engagement factor, right? That is also leading, that is disrupting the online advertisement business. And as a matter of fact, if you take a look at the balance sheets of a Google or a Facebook, you see that no longer are they going in double digits, right? But they're massively in decline. And the reason for that is because they spend the dollars, but the next generation is not engaging, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah, exactly.
yeah, so
So, I was reading the manifesto that you have wrote, and essentially the social media, the problems of social media that you point out is it hasn't changed in the last 20 years. When Facebook came up with their monetization model, it was basically bring a bunch of people in one place and then monetize them with ads. And the same model has been working for the last 20 years. And I don't think this is the way forward, because we have to change over time, and the demand for people, the need to innovate and the need to basically try new things has been going up. So that's why I would say that like a platform like Facebook is pretty much going extinct for the new generation. They want to try something new. Snapchat came in, didn't really solve the problem. So right now TikTok came in, doesn't really solve anything. They are just trying to make it more and more and more addictive. Like harvesting the users instead of actually creating a sense of community. And that's what I think you were trying to pinpoint, and that's what I think is makes it really so interesting. What do you think about that?
well, I do respect a lot the brands that you mentioned, right? I mean, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, right? So they're definitely very valuable, and I'm not saying that anything new will replace them. I want to make it very clear. I
Hmm.
think that we will be carving out a some time that folks are dedicating to those platforms, and the reason for that is let's say relatively simple. So on one hand, right now, and in our user interview last week, I had a student, age 19, mentioning a sentence that really struck out, and she said, "Oh wow, Tommaso, I catch myself swiping through, the feeds, right? And originally, social media was thought to kill boredom, but even though I was entertained, I felt bored." And obviously, that translating and having the capability as an entrepreneur to translate that need into what is it that actually was said. It was said that I have a habit, but this habit is now so default, right? That I'm already in the conscious perception that I'm no longer being satisfied with just being entertained, right? And it is very challenging, Romeo, to build a new, because we are not building another app, right? It's not as you say, oh, we are building another social media. We're comparing it with social media. Well, what we're actually doing is truly we are building a new dimension on top of the real world. So, meaning we are giving actually live, right, to your surroundings. And we are doing that in a playful way, meaning look around you, right? And whatever we see around us will be soon having a layer, a visual layer of information, a visual layer of engagement at the right time, at the right place, so that you, me, others will meet there in order to co-create that place, decorate that place, exchange in that place, chat in that place, shop in that place, right? So while we are comparing it with social media, right? The only thing that has a maturity of 10x is the socialization part that we are rethinking, right? But that catapults us, Romeo, into truly a total novel segment, which is spatial, right? As a matter of fact, we call it spatial experience. We don't call it, the future of social media, right? It's almost like, imagine that the social part of social media, has a child with the gaming industry from a playful reward mechanism, right? And that, in our perspective, is a new industry, right? It's the social element of social media, so social but not social media, right? And it's playful but not games, and those two combined, that create, and nobody has done it yet, right? People say, oh, you are kind of alluding towards Pokemon. I mean, obviously, whomever says AR today, everyone says Pokemon, because that was 11 years ago what came out on the market, and it has been the only, let's say, application, mobile application, right? But with the understanding, if the more you think about that, is, well, what is Pokemon? Pokemon has a licensor of IP, right? That created a game, right? That was designed by a studio called Niantic, right? And it has basically, a game that was collecting, on top of the physical world, certain IP values, right? What we are doing is, wherever you're going, like, you go to a classroom, you are in the classroom, you're going to your car, right? So we create a layer of playful engagement with your surroundings. Now, is it difficult to envision? Yes. Has it been challenging to develop and assess that? Yes, but we are in the moment now of a closed beta that we have, right? And people can access that. I mean, students specifically with a .edu email address, right? But yeah, I want to pass over again the mic to you, Romeo. I hope I answered your
Yeah,
question.
yeah, yeah. So that absolutely. Let's talk about that, because I understand what you were saying is that it's not essentially social media. It's just that the social aspect and the playfulness aspect both fits in, and then in future maybe basically the need for creating an ecosystem that also comes into place. You can have some sort of a commercial element, like something like you want to shop, you want to hang out, you want to do something else, you want to basically create a professional environment. All of that fits into this concept, right, of theory. So let's get a bit into it, let's a bit more into it. Like, so you said that you have been in the development process for more than 1.5 years. So what has that journey been, and what are the lessons that you have learned from that, and how you have pivoted and realigned your vision?
Well, let me actually point out here one thing. You meant we have been developing, we have been experimenting the last year and a half with a series of new behaviors across the physical digital world, right? So imagine that, you know, if I would have had this conversation with you at the end of the beginning of the 1900s, and we only see horses around us, right? And there is a guy coming along and say, hey, you, by the way, great that you have a horse, right? But how about having a car, right? You would most probably and gently, or eventually not so gently, ask to not waste your time, right? Because the human brain cannot envision something that is novel and new. And I think we have been embarked upon this, consciously embarked upon this challenge, and say, okay, do we all believe the following scenario? And I want to actually picture this for us here in this video, right? So in the near future, we will be doing this. We will be taking off the smart glasses, right?
Yeah,
Putting on our on
yeah,
our on our screen and saying, holy cow, have we really lived the last thousands of years in such a static, flavorless, default, not customized environment? No, 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 no. Let me go back. And then you access, boom, your bespoke world. You can see a layer that makes sense to you. You have access at the right time, at the right place, not in a polluted way, to things that are right. So, and in order to build that, like just what I pictured, right, it takes first of all some craziness, and secondly, the right team that is crazy enough to build that, right, and then to experiment. So over the last 13 months, to respond to your question, we've been experimenting with different application types, right, with different layers of, okay, how are we approaching it? Are we approaching it from a perspective of consumer fans? Are we approaching it from a perspective of food related stuff, right? And then we got into very positive feedbacks when it came around students on campus that are happy to be on campus, but actually have this urge and this feeling that it could be more fun, in simple words, right? And so we started focusing on that, have gotten more and more positive feedbacks, right? Obviously, at the same time, technology, like how do you do that? How do you approach it? Nobody has smart glasses. Let's do it with mobile phones first, right? So we went into mobile phones. Luckily enough, great evidence, AR Core, AR Kit on Android and iOS, great breakthrough for us on a mobile phone in order to have performant AR experiences, right? And then build use cases that make sense for students. So far, these are the year, let's say, and a half of experimentation, right? And so today, we are excited to continue learning, right, Romeo? Continue learning because
Mhm.
we are not doing it for students, but with students. Very, very important. Like, we are not saying, hey, Romeo, this is what we want. Like, we are really collaborating with a series of universities in United States, specifically, computer science clubs, art clubs, clubs that are into behavioral science, right, and cognitive science, so that we together, right, are shaping this new dimension on top of the real world. And at the center of all this is, how are we going to socialize? What does it mean, right? So, and that's kind of where we stand. We have we are at the point where we are very excited to share. We have 10,000 users in our wait list, right? We are rolling out one mind and one early adopter at a time, Romeo, right? So I like to call them also co-conspirators, meaning really minds that understand where we are going. This example here, right?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And love the journey to get there and want to be early enough, right? Yeah, the great
Yeah,
question.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so when you gave me the example of the glasses, when you take off, everything is so colorless and everything looks so basically surreal as opposed to basically something that we are currently seeing. It reminds me of if you try to imagine what a computer looked like in the 1950s or 1960s, you needed an entire room to just put one computer, and that is just unthinkable right now. Everyone has a computer there. So I think the same thing is going to happen, and not very far from now. Maybe in the next 5 to 10 years, we are going to see real adoption. And you also mentioned the mobile thing. That is obviously the currently the primary mode of access for something like Viri, right? But very soon we are going to have smart glasses. I know Meta has been developing the Orion glasses, which I think are the smartest one of as of now. So really bullish on that side of things. You mentioned about bringing in students from different universities of the US, primarily the art students, computer science, behavioral students. What I find the most interesting here is what I'm actually most excited to see is how the art students start using this, because this is essentially a completely new canvas for them to create something on, right? So, what are your plans? How are you going to basically, how are you envisioning the students will start using this?
Sorry, I lost you for a second. How are you envisioning the
Oh,
students?
how are you envisioning the student will be using Fury like 2 3 years from now? And what do you think about that?
No, I love this question. I think that in the current phase in which we're in this early adopter testing phase, right? The group that you mentioned, right? Students in art are really embracing the fact that there is a novel way to meet others around the topic of artifacts of art creation, right? And well, Tommaso, how does that work? Maybe here for the listeners, right? So we empower through an app to collaborate on creating art that then lives on top of campus, and others can discover, engage with it, and connect with others. Right. So I give you the non-digital version of it. Right. So when you are on UC Berkeley campus, right, or Stanford campus, right, that's the region where I live, right, and you walk through the campus, the beautiful campus area. You have specific spots where you have those uh, student created art. It could be an artifact, a statue. It could be the results of what such classes are doing, right? And that's obviously a physical object that lives in a specific physical space, right? But what if, right? The instead of being physical, it is digital, and what if what you're seeing is not created by primarily one person, and so you have one artist want to create, but it's a collaborative effort. And what if these
Uh-huh.
efforts can be multiplied, because if you have different topics through different seasons and seasonalities, right? So it's contextual, right? And then others can discover it through your phone and engage with it, right? So it's the world became the Canva, right? Instead of creating one artwork, now you can create a series of artworks. We call them, by the way, digital graffitis, right? It reminded us a lot about the graffiti world, right? Which is art and creation as self-expression, right? But now you do it through a mobile application, and you don't do it alone, but you do it always as a group. I think that is fundamental to the behavior of socialization. That you always work under one purpose, which is a topic, right, together with others, and the goal is always to establish or create something, right? Because you therefore have, as a result, a feeling of accomplishment, a feeling of belonging, right? And so in the future, to answer your original question, how do you see it that evolving over time? And I don't want to share too much about the 2025 roadmap, but we are right now experimenting to not only create objects that are collaboratively, contextually, and co-created, but also have entire environments, right, that are
Uh-huh.
co-created, individualized, so that those become point of experiences where others can meet, hang out, right, in a more fun way, in a bespoke way. Ultimately, Romeo, it becomes a really a new way of self-expression, right, cultural expression, right? That's where we are going. And in order to get there, Romeo, you can imagine that we are developing quite some intellectual property with some of the most brilliant minds and PhDs in specific areas, specifically around the perception and of 3D and 4D, and perception and reasoning of 3D and 4D geometric environments, so that we can create really those seamlessly integrated environments, right?
That's interesting. That's interesting. So, what has been the recent response from students been like so far? I know you are still speaking with students, and the students that will be seeing this, how can they apply to basically join the list of the wait list basically?
Yeah, so quick answer is you can join the waitlist on vry.world, VYRY.world, right? And there you can submit your request to join. I want to share this ahead of time, and be very very candid. It's not for everyone in this phase, right? So we are filtering very very strongly. Filtered based on what, Tommaso, and why? We are filtering based on minds that are embracing and love the idea of merging the physical and digital world and become co-conspirators. So basically, help us, guide us, go in that direction, right? So what we are not in the stages opening up for everyone, right? Giving the fact that we are in our closed beta environment. So viri.world, that's where you can take a look. By the way, maybe we haven't mentioned that. Yeah, Phygital is the underlying platform we have built, and Viri is the world, which is the extension of the real world. I like also to compare, Viri almost like, imagine that you have a browser and then you have a browser extension, right? And so what we are doing is we created this extension for the physical world, right, that embraces the physical world and the environment and transforms that into surrounding. That's what the very world is. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I will put in the links in the description so people can sign up and basically go through the process. As I said, we are all very interested and very excited to meet a lot of these students, and they're really talented, and can't wait to see how they're using the app that it is in the current version. So, what do you think? What have you seen in terms of the response from the students are? And also, I know that you are also bringing in a lot of people from academia. And what has their response been like so far?
Yeah. Uh, the main collaboration that we have been seeking and embarking upon is collaboration with students that are obviously tech savvy, but not necessarily versatile with technology. You don't need to be obviously a developer, right? Because that's not targeting right now. It's not targeting through specific APIs. It's not targeting developers, not yet, right? But it's really for consumers, right, who are open enough to experiment across the physical digital world. Again, something that has not been done yet, right? And are also, let's say, mature enough to guide us. Again, we're building it with them, right? So that's basically the best collaboration we are having, and the feedbacks have been all very very valuable, Romeo. Right? I mean, the talking with these young minds and getting feedback around what do I need in terms of socialization, what am I missing, right? Some of them are even more advanced in terms of the strength of truly envisioning this physical digital world, right? And all together, we are building this very strong foundation of understanding of what could be a next generation engagement across the physical and digital world, right? So great feedbacks that we have gotten specifically that have impacted me is, wow, Viri is transforming my boring everyday life into a playful engagement. That was to me. Oh, wait a second. What did you say? Can you repeat that again? Right. The other one was, often we hear things like, "Wait a second, I never thought of social media being actually limiting in the way that we socialize. I can be more creative with Viri, right?" So that's another thing, right? Then a lot are enjoying the genuine fact of you being able of truly having this digital slash digital physical, right? You are in real world, right? Which, a mobile app or an application online does not allow you, right? So now you're truly making leveraging, making sense, or in a new way of the physical world, right? And one of the aspects also that we have been hearing over and over again is that because you start the process of digitalizing assets in the real world by taking a picture. So you imagine you bought your new Nikes and you take a picture of the new Nikes. You are eating your Five Guys burger. You take a picture of that. Right? Ultimately, it's truly, Romeo, the pictures that you take that were intended to land on the Snapchat and Instagram. Right now, we turn them into game-like experiences, and the physical world becomes the canvas, right? And that is new, and it takes a while for you to say, wait, what did he say? How does it but once you start realizing that, right, there is this genuine joy of saying, oh wow, this is different, this is valuable, and this takes me beyond what I've been doing, right?
That's fascinating. That's super interesting stuff. Yeah, looking forward to try the next version of the app. I know it's in development and really interesting to see what the team has put together. And I know a lot of people are showing interest. So if any of you want to get in touch with Tommaso, I will put his LinkedIn link at the description, so you can check out both Fury and as well as Tommaso. And yeah, let us know what you thought of. Yeah, this has been very insightful into conversation, Tommaso. I think that's it for today. I will come back with another one next week.
Awesome. Outstanding. Thank you so much, Romeo. And guys, I'll meet you in this new dimension. Join Viri. Bye. Talk to you soon.
Absolutely, John Viri.
Bye.
Ciao.
Bye.